Goldman Sachs, one of the world's leading financial institutions, is revolutionizing the way data is used to make investment decisions. Managing Director Todd Mansfield is one of the minds behind the data machine. He talked to us about how he leads his team in his career journey, from starting in nuclear science all the way to fintech. This is Profiles in Brilliance. Hi, I'm Kelly Wenzel, Chief Marketing Officer of Andela, and I'm here with Todd Mansfield, Managing Director of Client Data Engineering at Goldman Sachs. Todd, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Pleasure to be here.
Explain your role and your remit, especially to folks who are not in technology. What do you do?
Goldman is a financial services firm. We have customers around the globe, corporations, financial institutions, governments, and individuals. And then zooming in a little bit more as part of the engineering organization, we build technology solutions to serve our firm and our clients. And then zooming in a little bit further into my world, we spend a lot of time making sure that we have the data that's required to make sure that those technology solutions deliver the outcomes that our firm and our customers are looking for. So we spend a lot of time making sure we have the right data, that it's cleansed and curated the way that it needs to be, that it's organized and it's easily accessible so the teams around the firm can access that data and use it to achieve outcomes.
Todd, I happen to know you have a degree in nuclear engineering, and that seems like quite a leap to Managing Director Client Data Engineering. Can you talk a little bit about what that journey was like?
Sure. So I studied nuclear engineering in college. I thought it was one of the hardest sounding majors that was out there, and I really just wanted to challenge myself. And then I came to the end of my school year and realized that the job prospects for nuclear engineers weren't as plentiful as I would have hoped. And then just a little bit of luck landed me in a software-related job. And so I got to learn sort of the software engineering side of the engineering discipline that I learned as part of college. And ultimately that led me to identifying what I thought was a gap in the level of service that was available to financial services companies in regards to software testing. So I, with the help of two partners, formed a startup. And so we were, entrepreneurs who provided testing services to financial services companies around New York. And did that for a number of years. Our very first customer was, in fact, Goldman Sachs. And so I spent, some time delivering services to Goldman. And then many years later, when sort of exited the initial startup company, went to work at Goldman full-time. I have always been involved in client-facing activities, right? So I've always been in touch with data, have always been building applications that, our salespeople and our external-facing teams can use. And so it was just a natural progression that led me into bigger and more diverse projects at Goldman. And here I am, 24 years after initially walking in the doors at Goldman Sachs, and I lead the client data engineering team.
So that's really interesting. The people that I interview, often it's reverse, right? Like they do a big corporate role and then they're like, I'm going to go out on my own. You did the inverse. Like you did the entrepreneur thing first and then moved into a large corporation. How has that affected either your leadership style or your approach?
Yeah, so from the start, I had to be somewhat flexible in sort of addressing the problems that I saw and changing myself to sort of fit the problem. So I've carried that forward for sure. That was, off the back of my nuclear engineering to software engineering move. The entrepreneur role helped me to understand how you run a business, top to bottom. So being able to step back, being able to look at the big picture and figure out where to spend your time to be most effective. Another, skill that I've carried forward into sort of my Goldman experience. I think at Goldman, one of the things I realized, and this is a lesson that I try to impart to the team, is I was so impressed with the people. I was impressed with their integrity, their intense focus on collaboration, the drive for delivery. And I just realized that it's really great to be working with people who you appreciate and who appreciate you. And so what I've come to learn is stay flexible, understand the big picture, and then try to be a great teammate. Try to be a great leader, try to make people feel good about coming to work.
Todd, how do you think about building like a successful and cohesive technology team?
Well, I think the first step is to understand the problems that you're trying to solve, right? Because they present in many different ways and you have to look for different skill sets, right? So it might be a set of technology skill sets that you apply to a particular problem. You might have a geographic area that you want to develop. You might want to have close proximity with your customers. But at the end of the day, I think it's important that the team is a team and that you're working together. What's the right fit between the players to make sure that we can sort of achieve things that are greater than what we would achieve as a collection of individuals? So looking for a diverse set of perspectives, looking across the globe to find the best people, and then really trying to build the camaraderie across the team is something that I found to be critical ingredients in building and sustaining a successful technology team.
What led you to that mindset that you were going to look for talent, globally?
The workforce is a global workforce at this point. I've always believed in looking for and hiring the best candidate for the assignment. And so that sort of broke down a lot of the walls that would have otherwise constrained me to look locally. We also think there's benefit in, being able to operate around the clock. Obviously we have a global customer base. And so working with my colleagues around the globe helps us to sort of meet the customer in their time zone. And so that's been incredibly helpful for us in being able to deliver what our clients are asking us to deliver.
So as you're building these teams, I'm curious, do you have an interview question that you always ask?
By the time the interviews get to me, that we've sort of assessed the technical capabilities of the team. So I'm really trying to judge for fit, right? And is this a person, that I think is going to be supportive of the team and for whom the team will be supportive, right? So I ask a lot of questions about what people do in their free time. I actually think that's a pretty telling way to understand what motivates people, both by what they choose to answer in their question and what they have to say. It gives a little bit of an insight into the person once they've taken down some of their, their work persona.
So what does Todd like to do in his free time?
Question. That's a great question.
I had to.
My free time is about, finding some downtime, finding some relaxation. So I like things that have a start and a finish where I can focus my attention. So cooking, I think, is probably what I would say is the top.
What's your signature dish?
I'm a bread baker. So, again, I like the process. I like the fact that it takes time. I like that there's a start and a finish. And at the end of it all, the loaf of bread is better than anything that you could get in a store. Even the bad loaves, which are many, taste better than many that you would get, elsewhere. Looking
back, is there a leader that you would say has had particular influence on your leadership style or lessons that you carry forward?
Yeah, I've had a lot. I've had a lot of people who've taught me a lot of things. I had an early mentor who told me, be where your feet are, right? Which was another way of saying, while there's a lot of things that can draw your attention, stay present in the moment, stay grounded, right? Be there thinking about what you're working on, be there thinking about the person that you're talking to. That's going to give you a stronger connection and a stronger ability to deliver in place, right? And you can change to tackle problems X, Y, and Z later, but be present and addressing sort of issues right in front of you.
What would you say is your superpower?
I think I'm really good at bringing together people with different perspectives. I've sort of always thought of myself as being able to kind of talk to different people and engage. I enjoy the diversity of thought. I enjoy, people who don't necessarily agree with me. So I think I have a good sense of being able to bring together people to add to a conversation and then making sure that those people stay in the conversation and continue to support each other. If you have a team, right, you need all types of players. So I think you need the same in a technology team, right? You need people who are thinking differently. You need people who have different skills. You need people to constantly challenge each other. If you don't, you fall into patterns, and patterns eventually grow old. And so we want to keep innovating. And so we want to keep bringing different perspectives to the table, and so that we can understand them, we can react to them, and then we can decide what course we plot based on that rich fabric of perspectives that the team brings to the table.
Obviously, lots of attention and hype around AI. I'm curious to hear what impact is it having on you and your team?
Let me say, I think we're at a very exciting time, right? I think AI is coming from what I think I would call a proof of concept stage and transitioning into execution mode. So I think it's going to be critically important that we, as a world, figure out how to use AI responsibly. And then coming at it from my perspective, one of the key ingredients, I think, to the insights that are gleaned from AI is the data that you put in, right? So I'm keenly focused on making sure that the data, right, that we have access to is appropriate, is cleansed, is usable in a way that we can feel good about passing it in as a foundational component of an AI inference or suggestion. So it's critically important that we get the data right, because any AI strategy that doesn't depend on high quality data is bound to fail.
Okay, so now we're going to do a little lightning round. Ready?
Okay.
Wake up early, go to bed late.
A little bit of both, but never both on the same day, because I do like to sleep.
Okay. Ask permission or beg forgiveness?
ask permission.
If you were going to write a book, what would the title be?
My family would laugh if I answered this question any other way. So I'm going to... Many years ago, my family got me the Bruce Springsteen autobiography because they thought I would enjoy it. I have enjoyed it. It's taken me 4 years to complete it. I just don't have a ton of time to sit down and get into a book. So I think if I were to write a book, it would have to be a collection of short stories. I would try to share some experiences and try to deliver them in the same metaphor and prose that Bruce Springsteen has done so in his autobiography.
What was the first job you got paid for?
I grew up in New Jersey, so I was pumping gas at a gas station.
Okay. And what is your favorite job? And I'm guessing that was not it.
The most recent job is my favorite. So my time at Goldman Sachs has been the most rewarding job that I've had out there. And I enjoy the people, I enjoy the work that I've done. Absolutely my favorite.
Oh, that's awesome. Todd, it's been a pleasure. Thanks so much for taking the time. It's been great to get to know you.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.